Confidently controversial. Confidently controversial. Confidently controversial.
Good morning.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to the show. It is
Confidently controversial.
Hey, and we're your hosts, Emily Paul and
Kim Tweed.
And we're here today to talk about movies we maybe love. I don't know what we're talking about today because it's Kim Tweed's pick.
It is my turn, and I have to tell you that I do love this movie very much.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. Mm-hmm. Well, before we get into all of that,
yes,
let's talk about movies you don't like.
Okay.
So this is funny. So last night, we were looking for a movie to watch with my kids, and somehow my husband got them to really want to watch Clash of the Titans from 1981.
Okay.
Have you ever seen that one?
Is it Charlton Heston?
No, it's Harry Hamlin.
Harry Hamlin?
Yes, at his young hotness. Ooh. And it's got some other heavy hitters in there for sure. But what's the one from Dame Maggie Smith is in it?
Really?
Yeah. But we watch it, and I was really torn because it's been on my list of potential movies.
Okay. It's not on my list.
Right. But I was like, all right, whatever, let's watch it. Because then Alex, my husband, got them all psyched about seeing the Medusa part. So we watched it, and right when it started, I was like, oh, yeah, this is probably better because Kim would hate this movie so much.
I'd be real mad if you proposed it one day.
I know. One day we'll have to. It's really something we have to approach at some point because I did watch that movie a lot as a kid.
Okay.
But
not today.
Not today. It's not the one. How have you been? What's been going on?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. So we're preparing. We go on a trip next week.
We do.
So we're taking a week off from recording.
We are.
Which will be good because we deserve a vacation.
Right. We put out a weekly podcast and nothing else, and we need a vacation.
Well, we do other stuff.
Right. It's true.
We do have jobs.
It's true. We're not talking about those at all.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's very exciting. I'm excited to go on a trip and be whisked away. So that'll be great.
Whisked?
Like you do a sauce.
I've never been
Whisk
whisked
me like a sauce.
anywhere. I don't believe I've ever been whisked anywhere.
No. Yeah. So that's going to be exciting.
It is going to be exciting. You sound thrilled.
I am. I just go, this is the way my brain works, is I can't be excited for it because my brain goes to all of the things I have to do before we go.
Yeah.
The guilt about going on a trip. I have to feel all the things of being scared of flying because I'm terrified of flying. So I have to go to all kinds of dark places in my brain. But I am excited. It'll be fun once I get there.
Okay, high praise. Should we get into the movie then, since you are less than excited about our little?
I'm very excited. Come on, I didn't say I'm not excited. Okay. I'm just I have a lot of issues in my brain.
Well, now, Emily, put those issues aside.
I'm gonna,
because I'm gonna whisk you.
Whisk me like a sauce.
I don't want to. Okay. We're gonna whisk you back to the summer of 1989.
Okay, 12.
This was a huge movie summer.
Okay.
There were so many sequels that you could go to the movie theater and watch that summer.
Okay.
We're not watching one of them.
I was going to say we're going to watch a sequel. That's weird.
No. But that summer, you had Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Oh, that's a good movie.
You had Ghostbusters 2.
I like that. A lot of people don't like that movie, but I like that movie. Yeah.
You had Star Trek V, The Final Frontier.
Oh, that was a good one, too.
You had James Bond, License to Kill.
I never got into James Bond. No.
You had Karate Kid 3.
Was that with the girl? I don't know.
Was that one in?
No, the one in Japan is 2.
2?
He goes to Japan.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
But Karate Kid 3.
Yes.
It was there.
Okay.
You had Lethal Weapon 2.
Never saw it. Or the first one.
Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child.
Yeah, I never watched any of those.
Friday the 13th 8.
Jeez Louise.
Jason Takes Manhattan. Okay?
Okay.
So this is all happening that summer.
Okay, a lot of
people are
some good.
Psyched.
Some good, some bad.
But the movie we're watching today, it opened on July 5th, 1989.
Oh, so this is summer blockbuster.
Peak
That's
summer.
Phew. Okay.
And it opened the same weekend as Lethal Weapon 2, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and Do the Right Thing.
Okay.
That was a tough opening weekend, right?
That is.
The week before, Karate Kid 3, Ghostbusters 2, and Batman had all opened
That was
at the box office.
Crazy summer.
So
okay.
it was one crazy summer. Despite all of the competition that it had, it was still a really big success.
Okay.
It cost about $15 million to make.
Okay.
And it actually made about $30 million in the 4 weeks that it was at the movie theater.
At some point, we're going to have to really take a deep dive into, like,
what that means.
What that means, like, what is an expensive movie? What's an indie movie? Like, what's a small budget? Because if you tell me my budget is $5 million, I'm like, I'm excited about that budget.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Sure. So, but they said it actually did better than they thought it would.
Okay.
And it's kind of been a film that's risen to cult status because it was on TV a lot.
Oh my gosh. Do I know this movie?
You know this movie?
Okay.
I believe you famously have not seen this movie.
Famously have not seen. I'm famous for it. Wow. Okay.
So this movie got 0 thumbs up from Siskel and Ebert.
Okay.
Roger Ebert apparently hated this movie.
Okay. I don't know. I think me and Roger Ebert kind of vibe on a lot of things.
Yeah.
So okay.
So there was one thing that I read that it was noted to be a commentary on the self-indulgences and self-obsession of the upper class that made them oblivious to the realities around them.
Okay.
Okay. Anything?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Nope.
Okay. Directed by a man called Ted Kotcheff.
Oh, Ted. Okay.
Ted, yeah. The only other movies of note that he did was First Blood, which I believe is Sylvester's
Rambo.
Yeah, Sylvester Stallone movie.
Okay.
He did some Law and Orders. He actually got into a lawsuit with 20th Century Fox about this movie because he didn't feel like his contract gave him as much money as he should have gotten.
Because it probably did well after the fact, and maybe he didn't have all that stuff.
Yeah,
in his...
something like that.
Okay.
He also makes an appearance in this movie, and I will be sure to point him out when he comes onto the screen.
Okay.
The writer of this movie, his name is Robert Klein. He wrote National Lampoon's European Vacation alongside John Hughes.
Okay, so this is a comedy?
It's a comedy.
Oh, good.
He also wrote The Man with One Red Shoe.
I love that movie.
You do?
Yes. Did you ever see that movie?
No.
Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
Okay, well, we're not watching it.
We should. We should.
This movie stars Terry Kiser,
Who's Terry Kiser?
Jonathan Silverman,
I know Jonathan Silverman.
Andrew McCarthy, and Catherine Mary Stewart.
God, you're going to make me watch Weekend at Bernie's.
Yes, I am.
I thought my streak could continue, but I guess not.
You know, we've heard a lot of backlash against this podcast because you have not seen Weekend at Bernie's. So I had to write that wrong.
Okay, I'm here for it.
How are you feeling?
I think I'm going to enjoy it. I mean, I think that even if it's terrible, it's going to be great because I've gone so far in my life without seeing this movie. I mean, from 1989 till now.
Yes.
Not seeing this movie, that it's pretty astounding to me. Now, here's a question.
Okay.
Tell me about the guy who played Bernie.
Yes.
Who is he? Like, what else was he in?
He was in the second Mannequin movie. He's been in a lot of stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll recognize him.
I'm gonna do like
Terry Kiser.
Terry Kiser. All right, I'm gonna do. This is gonna be a fun one for me to like do a deep dive in IMDb like while we're watching it.
Yeah.
Okay, fun. Tell me some facts about it.
This movie takes place in the Hamptons, but it was actually shot in Wilmington, North Carolina, and they built the house that's in this movie, which is, you know, pretty much the center point of where the story takes place. They built the house for the movie and tore it down like immediately afterwards.
Because it had a dead body in it.
Yes. No.
Okay.
This movie was originally called Hot and Cold.
Ew.
I know.
So gross. I mean, the premise of this movie is, I mean, should we say what the premise is?
Because say it.
So I'll tell you what I think the
Okay.
premise is. The premise is that you have two guys, the Andrew McCarthy and Jonathan Silverman,
Yes.
who they want to have a party, or they somehow got invited to like this guy's house, which is like fancy, and they're going to have access to like pretty ladies or something. But they get there, but before they can have said party and meet pretty ladies, their host dies.
So you know a lot about this movie.
I mean, it's in the zeitgeist.
Yeah, It is. Okay.
So, but yeah.
So Hot and Cold, you obviously get the reference
gross.
to that. There's a song of the same name used in the credits of the movie.
Hot and cold, he's alive then dead.
That's exactly the song.
Can't wait.
It was written by reggae musician Winston Matthews and Andy Summers from the Police.
Oh my God. It's like a real song. I'm excited for that.
Originally, Jonathan Silverman was supposed to be starring in this movie with John Cryer.
Okay. Ducky.
But then Andrew McCarthy, he auditioned for this part. He actually auditioned for the other character, but ended up playing Larry.
Okay.
And I feel like this is very much... I like this movie because Andrew McCarthy is not a typical Andrew McCarthy character.
Okay. He's different.
He's different.
And maybe that's what attracted him to this role.
Maybe.
He's like, I don't know, this is weird, but is this an opportunity for me to stretch some acting muscles I have not had the opportunity to do?
Yes. I think he was excited.
Okay.
And then one thing I wrote down in my research, and someone must have said it, is maybe I'm just stupid, but I love this movie. And that's the way I feel about it as well.
I guess to me, I remember when it came out, and I remember being, I remember hearing about it and people being like, what is this movie? Because I feel like that was definitely the take at the time.
Yeah.
What is this movie? Why is this a movie? And I feel like there was nothing about it that ever appealed to me.
Okay.
Because it was on. It was on TV.
And I obviously think about, when I go in to watch a movie like this, I think about, what's confident and what's controversial about it. And obviously the controversial part is that they're carrying a dead body through the whole movie.
They're desecrating a corpse.
But I feel like he just becomes a character of the movie. And I think that you'll see that it's not as horrible as you think it's going to be.
I mean, sure. It sounds like you're a lawyer.
Yeah.
And you have these two guys come up against a criminal case because they've desecrated a corpse.
Right.
And you're like, Your Honor, and ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I think what you'll find is that it's not as horrible as you think. It's wacky hijinks will ensue.
Right. And I submit to you as evidence.
Let's watch Weekend at
this
Bernie's.
fine film.
I wonder if there's ever been a situation a Weekend at Bernie's situation.
Well, interesting that you should ask.
Oh no!
In 2011, these two guys.
No. For
real, they found one of their best friends dead, which I question how good of friends they could be, because I couldn't carry your body anywhere.
No, I'd be crying the whole time.
Yeah. So they took their friend to bars and stuff like that, and he had passed away, but they used his credit card to pay.
Did they do it to be like, my homie needs one more night out, that kind of thing?
So I don't know.
Oh my God.
And then there's a tale in Hollywood about John Barrymore.
Okay, Drew Barrymore's dad.
Yeah, he died at age 60 in 1942.
Okay.
And Errol Flynn.
Well, it couldn't have been her dad then, because I don't think she was born in 42. Maybe it's another Barrymore.
Oh, yeah. It must have been her grandpa.
Okay.
Errol Flynn and Raoul Walsh, which Errol Flynn is a popular movie star. I don't know who Raoul Walsh is.
Sure
they paid a mortuary worker $200 to take John Barrymore's body out of the morgue. And they set it up in his house, on his couch, and they pranked the butler and tried to get him to wake him up with coffee and booze and stuff like that. But obviously he was dead, and so they thought that was some sort of funny prank.
All right, and I want to level set that any prank involving a dead body,
not funny.
Right? No, and that's why I feel like this movie, I don't get it.
But you will.
Funny.
You will soon. Not funny.
I can't imagine, okay, I can't believe the story you just told, because these are movie star people who were like, you know what would be really funny?
Right.
Let's go get his body.
Well, it was 1942.
And
they didn't have much else to do.
Maybe John Barrymore was a jokester.
Maybe.
Is that the Barrymore that was in... Now I'm gonna have to look that up. Is that the guy who played? Because I think a Barrymore played Mr. Potter in It's a Wonderful Life, one of my favorite movies of all time. Uh-huh. If that's the guy, then I'm just gonna imagine that Mr. Potter, in his wheelchair, just wake up.
don't know. I don't know the answer to that question.
Okay.
But yeah, so those were the two incidences I found. Now, they said that they don't think that the movie was based on that. Like, obviously, like, that's old, like, Hollywood legend and stuff like that. But both of the gentlemen, Errol Flynn and Raoul Walsh, copped to it in their biographies. So, like, it's something that happened.
Oh, my God. I can't even imagine that. First of all, like, dealing with a dead body.
Yeah, well, and one of the things I read was basically, like, you couldn't, this is not possible because they would be too stiff. They would, like the rigor mortis would set in. So they'd be too stiff and very, very heavy.
Because dead body is not floppy. And they start, like, stinking, right?
Right.
Like, I would assume something.
I assume so, yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of gross logistics.
And then also it would be
body.
like for two people, even for two people to carry like a person the size of Bernie would be a difficult endeavor because it would be like
dead weight.
Yeah, literally.
That's why they call it dead weight.
Right. So they actually did make a sequel to this movie in 1993
with the same people.
Yes,
all the same people came back for Weekend at Bernie's.
Yes. Two. And it was set in Jamaica, and there was like voodoo involved.
I was gonna say that body would be gross.
Well, I think there was like some mysticism that brought it back to life the second time.
Oh my God.
Because Bernie was a magical creature.
It's like some writer, they were like, listen, this movie did too well. We need another one. Right. And like, so some writers were sitting in a room somewhere like, what the fuck are we going to do?
Right.
The guy's
Bernie's dead.
Like, he's dead. It's gross. I feel like those kind of stories are always very fascinating to me about, like the people who keep corpses, like turn them into dolls and stuff. Like those are definitely like stories
there's a lot of bad stories like that.
Oh yeah.
Like where I can't even say it.
And yet you love this movie. But
it's not, that's the thing. I feel like after you watch it, you're going to not be like, oh, this was a story about a dead body. It's not.
So much more. So much more.
It is. It's so much more.
But yeah, like I feel like those kind of stories to me are always like the most horrific.
Oh, it's horrible.
Fascinating.
Yes.
Like, oh my God, like the worst case scenario for anyone to think of. Like, this person kept a dead body and made it like a doll in their house and like
filled its orifices so they wouldn't.
So they could have sex with
them.
They wouldn't. They're always having sex with them.
I know.
Is anyone having sex with Bernie?
Maybe. Oh, it's implied.
Oh my God, Kim, this movie.
I'm so happy for you to watch it finally.
Oh my God.
All will change. The world will be righted.
The world will be righted. If anyone's felt like a disturbance in the force, it's me watching this movie. Okay, I'm ready.
Are you?
Maybe. I don't know. Okay, yes, I'm ready. Let's go. Do it.
Okay, I'm so happy.
Confidently controversial. Confidently controversial.
Well, hey everyone.
We're back.
I am a worse person now than I was about an hour and a half ago when I had never seen this movie.
You're not better than this movie, Emily Paul.
Okay, here's the thing. I don't think that I am better than this movie. That is not the thing. It's not about me, Cam. It's about this movie being
amazing.
Terrible. I feel like I've learned a lot about you today.
Do you still want to be my best friend?
I don't know. I mean, I may have to rethink it. I might have to do some soul searching now. This movie, Cam. You love this movie?
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's silly. It's funny.
The characters are awful. This is why you love this movie.
Yeah.
Because you love Andrew McCarthy.
I do.
And that is the only reason you love this movie.
Not the only reason. First of all, he does a very good job in this movie, and it's not his typical role, correct?
He does a fantastic job.
He's very handsome.
I know I've said this on this podcast before. I mean, he's all right.
Okay.
He's all right.
Okay.
Are we not friends now?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, man. Great. We have a best friend adventure set up for next weekend, and this is
We're going into it fighting about Andrew McCarthy.
That's great. This is great. Okay. Where do we even begin? I don't even know where to begin with this movie.
Well, do you want to give a little recap?
Okay, I will. this movie is about two, like, we'll say 20-something guys living in the big city. New York, who work in a business, like maybe insurance. I think it's insurance, but it's some sort of 80s big business thing. They're both kind of like, you know, probably lower on the rungs, but they're really trying to like get ahead. But it sounds like it hasn't been working out for a while, so they're always looking for that big break.
Well, the one guy is definitely Richard.
Jonathan Silverman.
Yeah, he's definitely looking for it. I feel like Andrew McCarthy's character, Larry
and Richard.
He's just kind of, you know, hanging on to Richard's coattails there a little bit. But anyway.
He's not like, he's not unhappy about moving ahead.
Oh, no, he wants to.
He wants to. Mm-hmm. So, they find some sort of like anomaly in the numbers that show that someone's been stealing money or there's been an error that has caused the company to lose about $2 million. So big find. They're like, this is the break. This is what's going to make us like set us apart from everyone else.
Our boss is going to be so excited.
So then we meet the boss, Bernie
Lomax.
Bernie's an asshole. Like, he's a dick, and they set him up to be a dick like right away from the beginning. He's the guy. They show him this. They show to him that they found this thing, and he's like, this is great, you guys we got to work through this and figure it out. Oh, I know, come to my house in the Hamptons for the weekend, and it'll be great, and we'll figure it out. So these two guys are on cloud 9. They're like, we can't even believe it, like, we've made it, we're going to the Hamptons, it's going to be awesome. Well, what you find out is that Bernie is with some mobsters, and they're the ones who are stealing the money.
Are they?
I think it's set up like that. Like, they're somehow, like, they found, because I think when he's telling the mobsters, like, hey, they found, you got to kill these guys because they found out our scheme.
Okay, so he's, like, working with them to steal that money.
It sounds like it. Okay. So he,
I really didn't focus on the plot too much.
Well, you're just staring at Andrew McCarthy the whole time. So he's like, you got to kill these guys. So they what you find out, though, is that Bernie has been, like, hooking up with the head mobster's girlfriend.
Yeah.
So they're like, yeah.
Tina.
So when Bernie goes away, they're like, oh, yeah, we'll do it. So when he goes away, when Bernie goes away, is out of the room, the mobsters are like, yeah, we're not killing those guys. We're killing Bernie.
Right.
That's what's happening. So that's what they do. Bernie goes to, like, his house in the Hamptons, and pretty quickly the mobster guy gets there and, like, kills him quickly.
Right.
And he kills him in a way, like, shoots him up with drugs or something so that he dies.
Yes.
So, yes, that's what happens. So then Andrew McCarthy and Jonathan get there, and they figure out like, not right away, which is like, are these guys, like, I just don't understand.
Well, I think, too, I mean, I think it's alluded to earlier in the movie that Bernie does some drugs.
He does. He's doing coke in the office.
Yeah, so I think that they assume that he's already, like...
And they find drugs from him.
And I think they assume he's already messed up on drugs, and that's why he's initially a little out of it.
Sure, but then they figure out pretty quickly that he's dead, but it's like the party starts, and, you know, you can't tell anyone he's dead. So there's all these, like, reasons that things become reasons after reasons. It's like they think someone's out to kill them. I don't even know what's happening, but it's like... They got to carry this dead body around for a while. There's a love interest, and the end. Then the end. The end. Okay. Everyone in this movie is awful. There's the character I like the most is the hitman.
Yeah.
Like, he's my favorite guy in this movie.
Right. Just because he's so silly.
I just think he's funny. Yeah, I just thought he was funny. What I enjoyed about watching this movie were the things that made you laugh. Okay. That's when I laughed. Okay. I laughed when you laughed because it was like Bernie's dead head pops up and Kim is laughing hysterically.
I think the funniest thing about this, and I think this is what made it like something more than just like a movie that went away quickly, is the way that actor Terry Kiser plays the dead body. He's got this like smirk on his face. And it's very funny. And like when they're doing all this stuff and everyone thinks he's alive, it's because he's like, like he's like making like a smirky face, and he's got his sunglasses on, and he's just all chill, and he's got a good vibe about him.
Well, one of the things I kept thinking about watching this was like in the making of this, Jonathan Silverman and Andrew McCarthy were like had to be like real intimate with that guy. They were like all up on each other, like carrying him around. Right. And the other thing I thought is like they have to be pretty strong. Because I feel like they just throw him around like a rag doll.
Yeah, I guess so. But I also think, too, like, if someone that's alive can engage some muscles to, like, hold on.
Yeah, right? Yeah, but still, I mean, I feel like that was kind of, it must have been, like, strenuous. And then with those other guys, when they, like, knock out the other two guys that come in, and they just, like, throw them into a closet.
Yeah.
It's like, what? These are muscly men.
They are. Yeah, I think that, I don't know. I just feel like there's just it's joyful. And I know he's dead, but it doesn't seem like a dead body. It seems just like another character because of the way it's played.
I just found nothing joyful about this movie. I feel like it was uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable?
It was just, I mean, it had some moments where, I definitely laughed watching this movie, but I also feel like the whole premise of it, it's just, and then like it's supposed to be a dead body.
Yeah.
And it's like, it just falls over the railing. He just falls over the railing and he's like laying in the beach and then he washes up in the tide, like the tide starts taking him and he's like floating around. I mean, it's a dead body.
Well, you do think, I do find myself thinking while I'm watching the movie, like the damage that's happening to this body. For sure, you know what I mean? Like there would be, blood pooling in the areas where he's getting knocked in the head and stuff like that.
And also like thinking that, because in the end it does resolve that they do call the police and the guy who's the hitman, like he's there and he's, he basically confesses to what happened.
Well, and they also have it on tape, remember?
Yeah, they have it on tape. So, I mean, there's no question that the guys did not kill him themselves.
But you still feel like they should have been brought up on charges
of desecrating a body. Okay. I mean, I feel like if it were real life, and again, like you said, that body would have sustained. It was in the ocean multiple times.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It was knocked around up and down stairs. It was, just crazy stuff that I feel like like the police would come and they'd be like, yeah, I see he's dead and I see you shot him, but like, those bullets definitely happened after he was dead because there's no blood. But there would be blood. It's not like he was drained of all the blood in his body.
I don't know.
And that's the thing, too. Dead bodies, don't they,
Emily.
like, bloat up with all, like, the gases and everything?
I don't know.
I'm like, imitating. What you can't see right now is me imitating a body bloating after it's dead.
It's beautiful.
Thank you. So, yeah, it's, like, but aside from that, let's just talk about because the premise of this, okay, go
Hold
ahead.
on, I just want to tell you one thing, because you talk about, this is a very physical movie. It's there's a lot of physicality in the comedy, and things like that. And they talked about, in the making of the movie, they used stuntmen to be Bernie for some of the parts. And one of the stuntmen actually broke his ribs while he was being Bernie in one of the scenes, just because he was getting bounced around, dragged around, dropped, kicked,
It's terrible.
punched.
Oh my God. It's so much. I feel like the reason why this movie is as famous as it is because it's such an insane premise.
It is. It's totally insane. And I think that's why there's comedy in it. It's because, like, it's not like there's no sadness in the death because the death is of a bad person.
Sure. But the people, the main characters are also, like, they have to set them up to be pretty loathsome people as well because who else you have to be a little bit loathsome to not call the cops right away, to be like, oh, I know, let's just party because I want to meet hot chicks.
Yeah, I mean, that's the underlying thing in all of this. The chance to get babes.
Oh, babes. Women are objects in this movie.
100%.
Like,
and it's very much like a thing to have, a thing to covet, something to aspire to, and something that, women only, beautiful women only happen to you if you're very rich.
Right.
And if you have, a lot of means, a lot of money. So, that's definitely certainly like an underlying problem in the movie for sure, is that, they go to call the police initially when the party starts, and Jonathan Silverman's character, he wants to call the police. He's like, let's just, do the right thing here. But the other character is kind of against it. And then they see this girl come in that Jonathan Silverman likes, Gwen.
Sure.
And that ultimately is what stops him, because he's like, well, I have a chance. Here's my chance with this girl.
Yes. And I mean, sure, that's definitely a thing. You know what else is a thing in this movie?
What?
When the person has sex with Bernie.
That is a thing.
When he's dead.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, fully.
Yeah.
And she's like, it's the best sex ever.
Yeah, she's a little drunk.
Oh my God. It's there's just so many things. I want to talk about, though, before Bernie dies.
Yes.
In the business.
Yes.
Because you and I have both worked in, like, business settings in our career, in our STEAM careers.
Right, sure.
What was, like, business like in the 80s that this is, because it's not just this movie. I feel like there's multiple movies from that time that depict office life.
Yes.
And it was such a different thing
than
very
cutthroat, very like, it was like, like greedy.
Right, like you're all about the business when you're going there, and I feel like, sure, you work hard when you go to work and everything else, but it's like the way that the offices look and just the way that people act, and then it's just like, the big boss guy being in his office that's all super fancy and he's smoking cigars.
He's got a bar.
He's got a full bar. He's doing coke.
Yes.
I mean, it's
stealing money.
Yeah,
I thought it was
crazy.
interesting. Like, one of the first scenes that you see in the movie is Jonathan Silverman coming out of his apartment, and he's wearing suspenders. And I feel like that is such a hallmark of that time, of like that, like that Wall Street-y time was to have the suspenders. It showed that you were like serious and all businessy.
Sure, yeah. The look, like the outfits in this movie are pretty great 80s clothing.
Yeah.
I mean, because I feel like you get the business side, but then you also get like the preppy casual.
Yeah, I love Andrew McCarthy's vibe in this movie, because he's like a mess, and he's like wearing plaid jacket on plaid shirt.
Yes,
and I feel like it was a choice.
He's got like a Hawaiian shirt with a seersucker jacket over it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And shorts, and then he's got these purple high top Converse, and like the wigwam socks that are all very high up, but they're all loosey goosey. They lost their elastic at the top.
I like his style in this for sure. I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, all the other style around them. The other funny part is they take a ferry to get to the Hamptons.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've been on ferries.
Yes, I've been on ferries.
So ferries are pretty much like you get there, everybody just kind of takes their seat. It's a bunch of families and whatever. This is like a party boat.
Yeah.
And it's like they get on the ferry starts going to the Hamptons, and it's like wall-to-wall people on the hull of this ferry who are just dancing it up.
Making out,
drinking booze.
Smoking.
Like, it's like the party starts now, and they're all super 80s. Like, like wraparound sunglasses and pop collars.
And like with those like rugby shirts.
Yeah, and like just it was great. It like the style in this is very, very, very,
also
very,
too,
very
the ferry
great.
that we know and love, you have to drive. Most people drive onto. This is a walking only ferry, so maybe these people are just like primed to party because they don't have any responsibilities of driving or anything.
Well, and I guess, I've never been to the Hamptons.
What?
Have you ever been to the Hamptons?
No.
I assume it's pretty she.
Yeah.
With everybody knows everybody. I don't know. I've read things about it.
Okay.
We grew up in like short
house. Summer House.
Sure. But like the way that people just wander around and go into like
from house to house
and party, and it is very much like, what did you say? Was somebody who reviewed it was like it's about the very rich?
Yeah, and they're how oblivious they are to everything else happening around them. They're so self-involved, and you definitely see that at the party. Like there's all these people interacting with Bernie that do not know he is deceased, and they are, the one guy's trying to buy his car, the other guy is, one lady's trying to buy drugs from him, there's his personal trainers like, you're real loose, Bernie, good for you, bro. And like,
that guy, where did they get that guy? He looked like he was reading like cards off the side of the thing. So I have my feeling with that guy was like, he's so dumb. They're just like, just read the card.
Right.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
But they're all just interacting with him, but with their own agenda in mind and what they can get from him.
Absolutely. Do you feel like you would so finding something dead is one of my biggest fears in my life.
Anything?
anything.
Yeah.
So I grew up with pet birds.
I know. I've only just found out, but I know now.
And one of the things that terrified me was waking up and, like, you would cover them at night.
Yes.
So in the morning, you would have to take off the, like, we put towels over them or whatever. So you have to, like, take the towels off, and it would always be such a fear for me that the bird would be dead.
It's horrible.
I know. So I would, like tap the side of the cages until I could hear them move before I would open it. If I didn't, like, I would, like,
Right,
because
right.
I did not want to find a dead bird in there. I did not.
How did they ultimately die?
I mean, they got old.
And you found them dead in their cage?
I don't think I did. I don't know that I found any of them dead.
Right.
I have an image in my head of one of them being dead in the cage, but, like, I don't know.
Right.
I don't think I did. I know when my first parakeet, Patty. Oh, R.I.P. Patty. When Patty died, I was at a sleepover.
Oh.
And I remember I got picked up from the sleepover, and everybody in my family was in the car.
Oh, no. That's so
Which
weird.
was, like, not normal
Right.
pick up from a sleepover party. And they were all in the car, and they told me that the bird had died.
Oh, no.
And I was so sad.
That has to really suck. You're coming off like a high of a sleepover. Like, sleepovers were the best. It was a very, very exciting night for you. Good night. And then you get in the car and it's all sad.
I know, and I feel like it was like a double thing. Yeah, Paul McCartney's wrapped up in the memory too, because my sister and my mom had gone to see Paul McCartney in concert.
Okay.
And they got me a Paul McCartney t-shirt, which I had forever. I feel like I only just recently threw that t-shirt away. But yeah, I feel like it's all wrapped up in that, and it was really, really, really sad. So yeah, but fine. Okay, go ahead.
Have you ever seen anything dead?
I mean, at funerals, and then my dogs, like when you
Yeah.
put a dog.
I was
to
going to say I
sleep.
never saw a dead birdie. A dead birdie. Dead body. Sorry.
I literally just ran by a dead birdie today on the side of the road.
I haven't seen dead birdies. And I was going to say I haven't seen dead bodies, but I have been to funerals where there have been.
Yeah, but I've never,
bodies.
like, happened upon a dead body.
I hope I would know that about you.
Well, can I tell you that that's another, like, so I'm a runner,
Yes.
and so sometimes you have to, like, go to the bathroom while you're running, and so one of the places that's a common place that I will go to the bathroom is if, like, there's a construction site, and there's, like, a porta potty there. So, I am always, anytime, like, even if I'm in a race and there's a ton of people around,
right.
if I open up a door to I can't do that without thinking, oh my God, what if there's a dead body in there?
In the porta potty?
In the porta potty, which, like, makes no sense because it would be locked. They would be locked in if they died. Like, if they went in the porta potty and died, they would have locked the door.
Yeah, presumably, unless someone hid them in there, and I don't know.
And didn't lock the door behind. Like, yeah, you can
How
lock
would
it.
they?
How would they?
Did they climb out the top?
I don't know. But yeah, so finding a dead body is definitely fear for me.
I always think of, like, so I never really saw. We had dogs when I was little, and I've told you about my dog story.
Oh, yes. Aww.
So we had, like, a golden retriever when I was younger, and it was Sunny, and I grew up with this dog for years and years and years. Like, from a very early age, I remember, and then I was a little older, but not, I was probably like 7 or 8 maybe.
Okay, so you're like a kid.
Yeah, still a kid. And my parents told me that my dog Sunny went to live on a farm.
Classic. Classic cop-out.
Wait. So they told me he went to live on a farm, and the dog just wasn't there anymore. And they were just like, he's just going to be so happy there. Like, he'll be able to run and jump and play and everything like that. Now, cut to me being in my late 30s, and I said...
I was with you when this happened.
And I said to someone, like, isn't it weird that people tell...
It was me. I think it was me, yes.
I was like, isn't it weird that people say when their dogs die that they sent them to a farm? Because my dog actually got sent to a farm. And then I was like, oh my God. My dog didn't get sent to a farm. My dog died. And literally, I was in my 30s. And I all along just assumed.
Sonny!
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's sad. That's sad. But I feel like, first of all, your parents
They were just trying to protect me.
They were, and they had like a 2-year-old at the time too. So if you were 7, your brother was like 2.
Yeah.
So they're probably just like, we just gotta we can't.
Sure.
We're just gonna keep it moving.
And
here.
I was the idiot that was like, oh, dogs just live forever, I guess.
She's at a farm. You weren't even thinking to that place.
No.
It's funny. Was this like when you became afraid of sadness? Unlike your therapist, was this around the time where you didn't want to be sad?
No, I wasn't sad about it. Like, I wasn't sad about him.
Even that the dog wasn't in your house anymore?
I don't remember it. Like, I fully remember, like, in my mind, I picture our house across from the zoo.
Okay.
And I picture a truck coming to pick the dog up or something like that. And I don't know if I made that up in my brain because it fit the story.
Maybe.
But, like, the dog getting into the back of this truck.
They went and killed that dog.
And then just being like, oh, bye. But that could be a made-up memory.
Sure. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about Weekend at Bernie's.
Okay, sorry.
Going in some different directions here. But I do think that it's like, I did throughout this movie, you can't help but to think like, wouldn't people notice?
Right.
Like, how are they not noticing that somebody's dead? And is it even, like, it's not possible.
Well, but that's the thing, that they make it about themselves. And, you know what I mean? They're so wrapped up in themselves that they don't notice this person is dead because they're only using them. They don't really care about Bernie. Nobody really cares about Bernie. They care about what Bernie can give them.
That's right.
So.
Maybe that's why. Maybe
Poor Bernie.
You know, he was living this life. He had made all this money, but no one loved him.
He thought he had friends. He thought he had made connections with people.
Yeah, like those mobsters. He thought they had his back.
Yeah.
He thought they were going to kill for him.
All these people that wave to him and are so excited to see Bernie.
They don't care.
They don't really care about him.
Oh, do you know what I read while we were watching this?
What?
This movie was supposed to be a vehicle for the 2 Coreys.
No way.
Yes, it was.
Oh, God. Can you imagine? That would have been worse.
Oh, it would have definitely been
Terrible.
worse. I mean, I feel like you had to have people who were good actors in this, because otherwise it would just be a complete train wreck. Like, it just wouldn't work at all.
Well, I mean, two children addicted to drugs running this movie would have not worked well at all.
Right. So you figure we would just watch License to Drive. That was what year? 1980. 1987. So they would have been like 18 when this happened.
Oh, yeah,
No. With Corey Haim and his mouth acting.
Right.
What?
Well, I think
Bernie's dead.
Oh, adoy, as I said last time.
Adoy.
Well, that's one of the things I really like. I mean, I know that you think I'm just obsessed with Andrew McCarthy.
You are.
But no, I'm not. But in this movie, I feel like he does a really good job. And, like, I think he's funny, and he's very physical, and he's very, like, agile, and just very, you know.
Well, you know what's funny to me? It's, like, because I was reading on the IMDb during the movie, and, it seemed like people were reading the script. Like, it was out there, and people wanted to be in it. And it's like Andrew McCarthy got it, and like you said, it's like he wanted to be in this movie. And there's like other, you know what I mean? So I feel like as an actor, it was probably like, because they're probably looking at it like, oh, this is really interesting. Like, this would be a really, like, I'd get to flex a lot of my acting muscles in this. Like, how interesting. And it's just amazing to me that this movie has done as well as it has. I wonder, I'll have to ask my nieces if they, like, has it penetrated the zeitgeist?
Right. Into the next generation.
To the next generation, where I feel, because I feel like it comes up a lot in comedy.
Right.
And in other things. Like, I feel like it's referenced a lot.
Yeah, and I was thinking about that too. Like, it doesn't have any hit songs in it necessarily.
I mean, that Hot and Cold song is...
It doesn't really have any notable phrases or, like, things that you repeat over and over again. No. The only one I wrote down was, "I want to rip your gums out."
He says that to a child.
Yes. So it doesn't really have anything that carries it through to the popular culture. It just lives on its own. It's that strong of a movie.
It's just that strong of a premise, I think. I also think that, like you said, the guy who played Bernie, like, you know, I wonder if, and I didn't see anything about this, but I wonder if whoever made this movie like knew him before, or like because he does such a good job.
Right.
I mean, it's like he does a great job, and then the guy who plays the dead body in Goonies. So it's like maybe those are just your two choices. You know, the dead body, when they go into the cold, the ice cream thing, and he's like, get me out of here. Yeah. So I feel like it was just one of those two guys that could play this role. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, I see it in that sense, but it's funny. My husband's favorite joke, if you ask him, and I've heard him tell this joke many a time, if someone asks him what's his favorite movie, he always says, Weekend at Bernie's 2.
Okay.
Yes.
Sure. So has your husband seen this movie?
Yes, he has seen this movie.
How about your brother and sister?
I don't know, because we never watched it. I assume they did. I'll have to ask them.
I know my sister was very upset to find out that you had not seen this movie.
I know. People are often upset when I hear it. Now I don't have that going for me anymore in my life.
No, it's not a win for you anymore. And I know my brothers watch it. Like, I feel like this was on TV all the time.
No, it was. And I feel like anytime I ran into it, because I feel like it was played on Comedy Central a lot.
So you purposely avoided it?
It held no interest for me. There was nothing about this movie that and even still, if I came across it, I would not stop and watch it.
Well, I remember a couple years ago when you were rewatching like 80s movies with your kids, or getting your kids to watch movies, I suggested this for you to watch, and you declined.
Yes, and I would still do that.
You wouldn't show it to them? I think they'd think it was funny. There's not a lot of sexy in it.
There's a dead body that they're desecrating. There's drugs. There's no way. It's terrible. Another fun fact I read.
Okay.
There's a Jonathan Silverman Film Foundation.
Really?
Yes. They hold this movie in high regard for him.
Wait, so it was created not by him, but for him?
I guess, yeah.
Oh. What else has that guy done?
I don't know, but it's very fascinating to me that he looks so much like Sarah Silverman, and yet they're not related.
They're not related?
They're not. That's another thing I looked up and I know I've thought that before, because they do... Like, if someone said, oh, yeah, they are related, I mean, I would totally believe it. They look similar to each other.
Yeah,
but
dark hair.
They do, but I also feel like their eyes and their nose or something, like they're similar. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they're not related to each other. Let's talk about the controversial stuff in this movie aside from the dead body.
Okay.
It's not like there's other stuff in here that I feel like would not be good to show. Yeah. I mean, one of the setup that Bernie's going to have for like when they kill, like, you know, his plan for when he was going to kill the two guys was that he was going to make it seem like they stole a lot of money. They stole that money from the company because one of them, Larry, wanted a sex change operation. Yeah. And so, like, I don't know. That was very strange to have there. I think that the other thing is that, you know, a lot of the drug use, the drinking, which also I was thinking about this, there's a lot of movies like that, and I think as a kid, when you see other people drink, and especially in movies, they chug it. Like, they're just chugging booze, and then, like, they're not acting that... I mean, they're acting, so they're not acting... Like, if you truly chugged booze the way that they do in this movie, you would be Weekend at Bernie's. You would pass out, like, completely.
Well, and I think that definitely... I think the way that drinking is portrayed in 80s movies definitely impacted the first time I really got drunk. Because we did, like, so many shots, because that's what you saw.
Yeah.
And you didn't realize that, you know, in real life, as a teenage girl, you can't do 15 shots of whiskey.
You shouldn't. I mean, you definitely should. It's ill-advised.
Yeah. So I think that you know, I'm just coming to that conclusion now, but it was likely the cause because that's what you saw on TV. You're like, oh, this is what happens. You do shot after shot after shot after shot.
Right, and I think the way partying is depicted, like in this, but then of course in a lot of other 80s movies where it's just, it doesn't affect, it's not a realistic view of what it's like to party like that. I mean, you do see people who are like drunk off their asses in this movie, and they are gross. Like, I feel like that one scene where it's like the two older men who definitely know the girl who's the love interest, and it's implied that like they know her dad, so like that they've known her since she was really little, and then they like
sexualize her.
They hit on her, and that's. Yeah, the treatment of women in this movie is pretty awful.
It is awful. And also, like, you know, the whole goal in advancing in their career, being friends with Bernie, still pretending that Bernie is dead is all to get laid, as they say.
Like that's any time that they're kind of like, oh, I don't want to do this. Like maybe this is a bad idea. Let's call the cops. The thing that stops them from that is like seeing girls in bikinis.
Yes.
It's a big motivator for them.
It is.
Yeah, which, I guess, I don't know. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, okay, it's fun. I'm... Maybe I'm just a little surly because you made me watch it.
Maybe.
But yeah, thank you for making me watch it, Kim.
You're welcome, Emily. You
Appreciate
are welcome.
it. And I'm glad that you love Andrew McCarthy in the way that you do.
I do.
And he's, he did a tremendous job acting in this movie.
Thank you. That's all I wanted to hear.
And, it was great. So,
yes.
Yeah, but I'm still vibing with Roger Ebert on this one.
Zero thumbs.
Zero thumbs.
Okay.
They have my thumbs removed.
You wouldn't watch it again?
No. I hope never.
Rude.
I hope never to.
Well, I just paid $14.99 to watch it and own it, so I will be watching it every day
to make it worth the money that you spent.
Yeah, this movie was not available on any streaming channels. I couldn't find it anywhere else except to rent it for $14.99 from MGM.
Oh, you own it now.
My husband made me check our DVD collection to see because he thought we owned it. We do not own it, sadly.
No.
Now, to bring it all back to the Spader.
Well, this is a ding, 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 ding.
Yeah. And
Direct
I really
connect.
tried hard not to make it an Andrew McCarthy connection.
Right.
I was doing a lot of research to try to get a connection between Terry Kiser and Spader, or the woman, Catherine Mary Stewart, and Spader. I could not.
Really?
I even asked the Chat GPT if it could tell me.
You cheated with a robot?
I did.
Oh my God.
And it was like, nope, sorry, we couldn't find anything. So we have the direct connect of Spader McCarthy.
Yes.
However, I did want to point out that Terry Kiser was in Mannequin 2.
What?
Yes. So he is a little closer to them.
Sure.
Than, but Spader and McCarthy were not in it, so,
Okay. Well, yeah, McCarthy. That's pretty great. So, as we always like to do, we like to thank people.
Yes, thank you guys very much.
We appreciate you. We appreciate you listening to this. I would say if we do like hearing from you guys. We like hearing your suggestions. And, I feel like I have a list that's so long from other people suggesting them to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like every time they do, I have a running list on my phone that I just add
Same,
more onto.
yes.
And then for some reason, when it's time to pick a movie, I'm like, I don't know what to pick.
I know.
So it's great though. It's great you guys are listening, and thank you.
Yeah. Follow us if you're not already. We're on Instagram at Confidently Controversial. We're on TikTok at Confidently Contro. And you can email us those movie suggestions to confidentlycontroversial@gmail.com. But other than that,
I think this was a good pick, Kim.
you don't.
I do. And, I want to tell the people to be confident, but not so confident that you feel like you can pull off
a weekend
at Bernie's situation.
Right. Fair.
Yeah, because that would be controversial.
It would be.
Yeah,
it would be.
Absolutely. But thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Confidently controversial.